What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So, in the coming weeks here, we're going to have something a little bit different coming up here pretty soon. I'm going to be able to share my NFL Plus videos with you guys and kind of see, some of the things that I see when I'm breaking down or talking about certain matchups on offense and defense. You'll get a little bit better idea of what I'm talking about because I'll actually be able to show you instead of being just that kind of faceless, avatar up there and that's all you can see. At least now I'll be able to show you guys some of the cut ups of what I'm looking at when I think the Cowboys have a favorable matchup or a non-favorable matchup depending on who they're playing. So look out for that here. I expect that sometime within the next 14 days or so, and that'll add a little bit of a different element to what I present to you guys. But so I took a look at the Lions defense on the film here, and I kind of come away with the same impressions that I had when I took a look at the Lions offense versus the Cowboys defense. I don't see the Cowboys being overmatched here, right? They got Hutchinson on the outside, and then they also have a pretty good linebacker there in the middle. Actually, a couple of pretty good linebackers and a couple of pretty good safeties there. They have a pretty good corner. I don't remember all the names. Forgive me here, but basically they have a playmaker at every level, but they don't have the type of defense that should stifle the Cowboys for the entire game. Like Carlton Davis, who's a corner that I do remember the name of, that I know they have, he can be had by CD Lamb. CD Lamb can take advantage of that dude on the outside. And I actually even think Jalen Tolbert can take advantage of Carlton Davis a little bit, depending on, what we get, as far as matchups at the line of scrimmage. But I don't see anything overly concerning from their defense that all of a sudden makes their defense, pretty much unbeatable for our offense. The Cowboys should be competitive in this game. I know I said that when I broke down the Detroit Lions offense versus the Cowboys defense, and I feel the same way when breaking down the Detroit Lions defense against the Cowboys offense. So when you're looking at their defense up front, I mean, DJ Reader, he's a good physical guy. He's going to be good in run defense, but he's not what he used to be. Pascal, McNeil. These are all guys that are okay. They're okay, but they're not, world beaters. They're not the type of people who the Cowboys can't necessarily get some freedom on. I think Carlton Davis, like I said, he can be had with CeeDee Lamb. I do fear the Brian Branch matchup on like our tight ends on Jake Ferguson. I think Brian Branch is a pretty good cover guy. He's a solid tackler. He's smart when he plays. So that's going to be a little bit of challenge for the Cowboys. But all in all, I actually think the Cowboys are going to get a chance to move the ball here. Terrion Arnold gets a lot of penalties. He's a grabber. I think Jalen Tolbert can take advantage of him all day long. I think Robertson is a person that CD Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, they can all take advantage of. And I actually think the Cowboys will actually be able to run against this front. The more I'm looking at the film, the more I feel like instead of how I was telling you guys, a lot of people are out here predicting it like the Cowboys are about to get run out the gym. If the Cowboys get run out the gym, right? Because it's a small chance. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But let's say the Cowboys get beat. It's going to be a beating of like, you know, 41-34, 41-28. Like the Cowboys are going to be able to drop some points here on the Detroit Lions unless they do things like stall themselves in the red zone or get third down penalties that kill their drives, settle for field goals too many times. But if the Cowboys are aggressive like they should be, I think this actually is a game that matches up pretty well for the Dallas Cowboys as far as their offense against the Detroit Lions defense. Now, let's take a look at some of the predictions. So, one of the things that I'll be watching for and goes into the predictions is CD Lamb. I think this, and I feel like I've been saying this for 2 weeks straight now, or maybe even 3 weeks straight now. So if it doesn't happen this week, then I'm turning in my card, and you know what? I just don't know when it's going to happen. But I feel like CD Lamb should have a monster game this week. I feel like this should be one of those 8 catch, 130 yard, touchdown games for CeeDee Lamb. 8 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I do think Jake Ferguson is going to have a little bit of a hard time finding, as much space as he normally finds in this game. But I do think that also comes down to Jalen Tolbert. I think he'll be able to make plays. I do think also that our running game, if the Cowboys stay committed to it. Now, I did hear a little bit of rumblings this week that Zeke went in and basically was like, what's going on with my role? What's going on with my carries? I'm not on the field as many plays, as many snaps. Thank you. Thank you, Dallas Cowboys, for not necessarily giving Zeke what he wants because, what a player thinks in their mind as opposed to what's really going on can be two different things. And a lot of times the players are the last people to know that they're not ready to do this anymore. So I do appreciate that the Cowboys have been leaning more on Rico Dowdle and have been leaning more on Hunter Lipke. And they shouldn't stop that just because Zeke went in there and ran his little lips. What's working on offense? Rico Dowdle is one of the few things that's working. Hunter Lipke is one of the few things that's working. We're not going to change that just because Ezekiel Elliott went in there and said, yo, bro, what's going on with my role? Pacify him, do whatever you need to do, but keep giving those two more snaps. Keep that running game going with Rico Dowdle because right now he's the back that's given us the most in the running game, and we need to keep it that way. I'm not sure if Tyler Guyton is going to play this week, but it'll be interesting because the Cowboys did mention there's a chance that they run out that offensive line that we saw more towards the end of the Steelers game, which is Tyler Smith, TJ Bass, Cooper Beebe, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele. If they're running out that offensive line, the Cowboys are going to have a lot more stability on offense and have a little bit more of a chance to move the ball in a more successful way. There'll be less penalties there. And I'm not saying that all means that Tyler Guyton was the problem, but the unit was more cohesive when they made the switch because of injury. So if Tyler Guyton's still a little hurt, you know what? Let him hang it up flat screen this weekend. Give him the bye week. He can come back against the 49ers and get ready to handle that Nick Bosa man because that dude's a dude. Hutchinson's a dude also. I know if Guyton's out there, he's going to be lining up on Guyton and testing that leg. He's also going to be lining up against Terrence Steele. He might even line up a little bit in the middle as well. So the Cowboys just need to make sure that they don't let the one guy that the Lions have on the defensive line, and I'm not saying one guy is in, the other guys are not NFL players. They're NFL players, but I mean the one guy as far as someone who can wreck the game on passing downs for your offense. You need to know where that guy's at because everybody else, the Cowboys can handle even if it was Tyler Guyton. If you got Tyler Guyton getting some help from the running back on Hutchinson and then you have the other, four guys concentrating on those other three Detroit linemen, Dak will have enough time to make some plays in the secondary. And Detroit's secondary is aggressive, but they're not necessarily disciplined, which means you can definitely get some big plays off. You can get some double moves off. You can get some missed tackles. There's a lot of good things when you watch the film that the Cowboys can take advantage of. Now all we have to worry about is if the Cowboys are going to take advantage of that. One of the other things I'll be looking for as well is to see how we do decide to protect against Aiden Hutchinson, right? Will the Cowboys play him straight up? Because I don't think Terrence Steele can handle him one-on-one, and I don't think Tyler Guyton can handle him one-on-one. I do think Tyler Smith could handle him one-on-one, but that's just kind of how we go here when we talk about the NFL, right? There's not many teams who can handle an Aiden Hutchinson one-on-one. So this isn't a Cowboys problem. This is a league-wide problem. Aiden Hutchinson's a beast. He's a monster. Let's respect him. I think the Cowboys should make sure that they do some creative things as far as chips, as far as double teams, and even kind of some cut blocks because I do think Aiden Hutchinson also plays well in the running game. So the Cowboys need to make sure that they're finding a lot of different ways and a lot of different looks to frustrate Aiden Hutchinson and keep him from wrecking a game for you. One of the other things I'm going to be looking at is the Cowboys' defensive tackle play against those running backs because you're going to have someone like Montgomery who will hit you on the outsides, but he'll definitely run between those tackles and between those guards. He wants to get that contact in the middle. But then you have such a sudden change of pace as far as Jahmyr Gibbs. And when I say sudden, I mean it in every sense of the word. Jahmyr Gibbs' stop speed is elite. He can be going slow, pressing the line, and then boom, get right up to that 4.3 speed immediate. And I say sudden and I say immediate because that's how the Cowboys need to be viewing it. When you watch him on film, he is exactly those two things. He is sudden and he is immediate. So the Cowboys linebackers are going to have to do a good job of not only flowing to the ball, but making sure not to over pursue and leave cutback lanes. Those defensive tackles, who I'm going to be watching closely in this game, need to do a good job of clogging up the middle and not leaving enough holes so that you can't get those running backs to kind of get them started, and kind of get ahead of steam going. Let's slow them down at the line of scrimmage and allow our linebackers to get there, and before those guys can get into second and third gear, get them to the ground. So that's going to be a super important part of this game. Cowboys need to make sure they're on top of that. I'm sure they watch plenty of film. I'm sure Mike Zimmer is going to be coaching them up on that. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be in the right position to do the right thing, but hopefully they see what we see and they end up making those adjustments, and then as the game goes along. Also, I do want to make sure that the Cowboys are getting their hands on these wide receivers. You can't allow Williams free releases because his speed is also very sudden, and before you know it, he'll be on your cornerback's toes and past him, and then your safety has to be flat-footed and trying to worry about him in open space. You don't want to let him on around St. Brown. He's got some speed, but he's also got some physicality to him as well. Tim Patrick already touched on that a little bit earlier. So these are the types of things I'm looking for from our defense. They need to be making sure that they're getting hands on these guys, rerouting these guys, making it a little more difficult. Our secondary matches up very well against their skill positions, so I expect to see a lot of our secondary making sure to make these things rough on their receivers, disrupting the routes, disrupting the timing, and making Jared Goff do what he does, man. Hold that ball back there. Get a little scared in that pocket. Throw it up to us. Let Trayvon get his hands on a few. Let Bland get his hands on a few. Let Carson bat a few down because he ain't catching it. But still, he'll get his hands on it. Let our safeties have enough time to get over the top. Make this game a little bit difficult and make Detroit drive the football. Make them have lots of plays, right? That's another thing I'll be looking for. I want Detroit to have to go 13 plays and 70 yards to get their touchdown because I want them to have to try to make the right play over and over and over again. Don't let Williams get past us for a deep shot on their second play of the drive and boom, it's 7-0. And then, they do a crack toss and Jahmyr Gibbs finds a lane and boom, he's into the open field and he runs a long touchdown. Now it's 14-3 and they've ran 5 plays. No. You need to make them run their plays, or if they're having a short drive, it's because it's a 3 and out and we got them off the field, right? So let's get to predictions. So I don't see the offense of the Lions being able to run away from the Cowboys, and I don't see the defense of the Lions being able to slow down the Cowboys. So what does that mean as far as what I think of the outcome of the game? So I looked it up, and I think I am exactly what the Cowboys are this week. I am 3-2, picking Cowboys games. Unfortunately, I hope I am not 4-2 because I'm going to take the Lions in this one. But I'm going to take the Lions 32-25 over the Cowboys. I think there's a 2-point conversion there somewhere, extra 2 points. I think maybe that comes from, some going for it from Dan Campbell to make up for the last game. Maybe he has one of his offensive linemen report as eligible and they get to catch a 2-point conversion that actually counts. But I do think the Lions win by a touchdown. The Lions are 3 to 3.5 point favorites last time I checked. So that means they cover the spread. The Cowboys lose. They go into their bye week 3-3, with hopefully getting some more players back after the bye week. But I do think it'll be a hard-fought, high-scoring game. I do think the Cowboys will be able to score plenty by evidence of their 25 points. But I also do think Detroit is going to be able to score a little bit as well. And ultimately, it comes down to Detroit just getting one extra touchdown than you. Maybe that touchdown's late. Maybe it's like 25-25 in the fourth quarter. It's a tight game, and then Detroit gets a touchdown late, to go up by 7, and the Cowboys just, run out of time. And the game just ends up, kind of coming down to, hey, man, they got the last score late in the game. They kind of got to stop, and that's that. So thank you guys for tuning in. That's all I got for you. Follow me on Twitter at JMillerIYL. That's J Miller if you like. You can also hit me up, knockers on the bottom at outlook.com again. Knockers on the bottom outlook.com. You can also hit me up at knockers on the bottom at gmail.com. You can hit me there. You can hit me in the comments below, via email, via Twitter. I'll take them anywhere you send them. I'll cover anything you want. I'll take any questions you have, put them into a mailbag format, make it a regular segment. But thank you guys for tuning in. Love you so much. We're up to 21 subscribers, so please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so that you know when I'm coming on. But until next time, I'm your host, J Miller if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.